Tonight, you will probably lie down, close your eyes, and sleep straight through until morning. You will not think about it, you will not question it, but somewhere deep in your body, something ancient is still waiting for you to wake up in the middle of the night, and the real answer to why is far stranger than you think. You assume your sleep is natural. You assume 8 unbroken hours is what humans have always done, but that assumption is wrong. It is so wrong that it may be changing the way your body feels every single morning without you ever knowing it. Here is what actually happened. For most of human history, you did not sleep once, you slept twice. Your ancestors would lie down at dusk, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, wake up around midnight, stay awake for an hour or two, and then fall back asleep until dawn. This was not insomnia, this was not a disorder, this was the default human sleep pattern for hundreds of thousands of years. Historians called it segmented sleep, or sometimes biphasic sleep, and for a long time, almost nobody in modern science paid attention to it. Then a historian named Roger Ekirch changed everything. Ekirch spent 16 years combing through thousands of historical documents, diaries, court records, medical texts, literature, prayer books, and what he found, buried in the margins of history, was overwhelming. References to the first sleep and the second sleep appeared in documents from ancient Rome, medieval Europe, colonial America, and beyond. Not occasionally, constantly. People across cultures and centuries treated the midnight waking as completely normal. They got up, they prayed, they talked to their partners, they had sex, they smoked, they visited their neighbors, then they went back to sleep. Ekirch published his findings in 2001. The scientific community took notice, but the real question is not just what your ancestors did. The real question is why. Why did the human body evolve to wake up in the middle of the night at all? The answer starts somewhere you might not expect. It starts with darkness. Before artificial light, the night was not simply dim, it was total. When the sun dropped below the horizon, your world disappeared, and total darkness, for an animal with almost no physical defenses, is a death sentence. Predators do not sleep, threats do not stop moving just because your eyes are closed. Your ancestors were not at the top of the food chain, they were prey, and sleep, especially deep unconscious sleep, made them vulnerable. So the body solved the problem elegantly. It split the night. The first sleep was deep and restorative. It flushed the brain of metabolic waste, consolidated memory, repaired tissue, ran the essential biological maintenance that cannot happen while you are conscious. Then, right around the coldest and darkest part of the night, the body pulled you back up toward wakefulness, not fully, not alertly, just enough. You would lie in a state between sleep and waking, aware of sounds, processing your thoughts, checking that your surroundings were safe. Then the body let you fall back down. The neuroscientist Jerome Siegel has spent years studying sleep patterns in modern hunter-gatherer populations, trying to find living analogs to how our ancestors actually slept. His research with groups like the Hadza in Tanzania and the San in Namibia found something surprising. These populations do not follow a strict 8-hour single block either. Their sleep is flexible, responsive, and far more fragmented than any Western doctor would recommend today. They wake to temperature changes, to sounds, to social interaction. They nap, they drift. Sleep, for them, is not a scheduled shutdown, it is a continuous negotiation with the environment, and their insomnia rate near zero. Now think about your own sleep. You lie down at a specific hour determined by your work schedule. You expect to be unconscious for exactly 8 hours. You expect to feel no transition, no waking, nothing. And if you surface in the middle of the night, even briefly, your body floods with cortisol, your mind starts spinning, you stare at the ceiling and calculate how many hours you have left before your alarm goes off. You diagnose yourself with insomnia, you open your phone. That spiral is not your body failing. That spiral is your body doing exactly what it evolved to do, colliding with a cultural expectation it was never designed to meet. The psychiatrist Thomas Wehr ran a remarkable experiment in the 1990s. He took a group of healthy adults and removed all artificial light from their evenings. No bulbs, no screens, just darkness. Starting at dusk, within a few weeks, something extraordinary happened. Participants naturally shifted into a two-phase sleep pattern. They fell asleep earlier, woke around midnight, lay quietly in a state of calm wakefulness for an hour or two, then drifted back to sleep. Their hormone profiles changed, their prolactin levels surged during that midnight wake period, producing a state Weir described as almost meditative, not anxious, not distressed, deeply calm. They were not experiencing insomnia, they were remembering how to sleep. That calm midnight waking was not a bug in the ancestral system, it was a feature. It was the hour your ancestors used for things that the busy daylight world left no space for. Ekirch found diaries describing the midnight waking as a time for deep thinking, for reflection, for prayer, for connecting with a partner without the noise of children or community. The medieval church even scheduled a prayer hour for this window. They called it matins. The monks knew the body would wake. They built a ritual around it. Your brain, at that exact hour, is in a different chemical state than it is at any other point in the day. Prolactin is high, the analytical left hemisphere quiets slightly, the more associative, pattern-linking right hemisphere becomes more active. It is the state associated with insight, with creativity, with the kind of slow, wandering thought that produces unexpected connections. Ancient humans were not wasting that hour, they were using it for something your waking mind rarely gets to do. You took that hour away from yourself when you invented the light bulb. Thomas Edison famously believed sleep was a waste of time. He publicly claimed he only slept 4 hours a night. He called 8-hour sleepers lazy. His invention did not just light up the world, it collapsed the night. It compressed what had been a long, softly punctuated dark into a bright, productive extension of the day, then a brief hard unconscious drop. Then an alarm. The segmented night, built over hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution, was gone within a generation. The consequences are still unfolding. Sleep researchers estimate that the average person in an industrialized country sleeps significantly less than a century ago. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to increased risk of heart disease, obesity, depression, cognitive decline, immune dysfunction. The list is long, and yet the cultural ideal remains the same: push through, sleep fast, get up early, be productive. If the exhaustion you feel is not weakness, what if it is the echo of a rhythm your body never forgot? There are researchers now who argue that the global insomnia epidemic may not be purely a disease, it may be, at least in part, a mismatch, a collision between an ancient biological pattern and a modern artificial one. Your body is waiting for a second sleep that your schedule will never allow. It is waking you at 2 a.m. to check the perimeter of a world that no longer has predators. It is generating that calm prolactin-rich meditative state, and you are filling it with anxiety about tomorrow. The body is not broken, the system around it is. There are things you can do. Researchers studying biphasic sleep have found that even short afternoon naps, what some cultures have preserved as the siesta, partially restore the architecture of the ancient pattern. Removing screens and artificial blue light in the 2 hours before bed allows melatonin to rise naturally and can shift your sleep cycle closer to its ancestral timing. Perhaps most importantly, if you wake in the middle of the night, lying still in the dark without immediately reaching for your phone can allow your body to pass through that ancient waking window and return to sleep on its own schedule. You are not broken at 2 a.m., you are ancient. Your body has carried this rhythm across every climate, every continent, every era of human history. Survived ice ages, migrations, the invention of agriculture, the rise and fall of empires. It is older than writing, older than civilization, older than the word sleep itself. Tonight, when you close your eyes, you are not just resting, you are stepping into a rhythm that is hundreds of thousands of years old. If you happen to surface in the quiet dark sometime around midnight, before you reach for your phone, before you calculate the hours and start to spiral, pause for just a moment. That is not insomnia, that is you.